Hello, my name is Michael Pastor, and I'm going to walk you through a class I have set up here on Canvas. So, as we enter this class, I'm going to set this at student view so you can see what the students see. And I'll enter the class by hitting module. You can tell this is Canvas. And as you see here, let me close this start button, that I set my class up very Spartan-like. I've eliminated all extra material that isn't absolutely necessary, at least that I feel is not absolutely necessary. And let's just begin with the Start Here button. So if you open up Start Here button, you'll see I'll have a syllabus, of course, and a link to some of my my where my office is and office hours and things like that. But also I have, which I don't have office hours right now since we are completely virtual, and I handle that through Zoom. But the first button that's pertinent to the students will be the exam schedule. But before we hit that, let's just mention that there's student resource buttons down here, which include access to our STEM tutoring. We have both STEM tutoring online via Zoom sessions in our STEM center. Students can also sign up for individual tutors. In addition to that, over here on the left in these menu buttons, I have a link to BrainFuse Tutoring, which is a tutoring system for students that operates 24/7. It's a contracted tutoring service that students have a certain number of hours access to every semester. Students also can use collaborations in my class, and we do work projects or teamwork or group work. And I've had a number of students who use these collaborations where individual students can collaborate on different types of documents like the Microsoft Office documents or different Google apps. Finally, over here on the left, for my general explanation, is the Zoom button. If you click the Zoom button, actually, you'll see this takes you to a meeting page. Now, in a typical class, there'll be a whole list of meetings that we have scheduled when we're doing classes like we currently are, which is completely online. And for all my classes, I have a virtual classroom where the students meet and they turn their cameras on and we interact that way. And it's a one-click link to each of those classes for a particular time of day. For this class, it was, for example, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. None of these are available here right now because the class is over. Well, it's in the last week. We're in finals week right now. But a student merely has to click the button and they'll automatically go to the Zoom session. Now, we also talk about, there's also information over here that outlines the Zoom the Zoom meeting ID and password, and I show students how to access that early in the semester so that in case they don't have computer access, they can get on with their phone. And some students do get on with their phone, and they'll attend class while driving in their car or something like that. And just as a final point here, I put a quick button here the students can click on that opens up an image showing when important exams are scheduled. And this changes usually during the course of the semester. For example, Chapter 10 I actually had an exam for, and I taught Chapter 11 this semester. So now this brings me to teaching classes. Both in the virtual environment and when I am live in class, I teach using a virtual online Blackboard, and I use the program OneNote to do that. And here is an example of that for this class. This is like Chapter 10 that was pretty recent. I use a writing pad so that I can write on this. Now I'll start a class out. This will be completely blank, and I'll write all this information down as though I'm writing on the blackboard. Occasionally, which is nice about this, is I can paste images in. I can like cut or paste that image in when I'm discussing it, just so that I can get visual cues about things that we're talking about. Here is a 2-dice system. In addition to that, sometimes I'll have programs that I want to show. So in class, I would actually just open the program up and show it on the computer. But in a virtual setting, I'll have to share different software with the students. For example, this is a Microsoft Excel, and I showed students how to create these scatter plots in Excel. We talked about it, and we went further to discuss bar plots and pie charts, for example, in this situation. But the way these are set up, every module of education is generally associated with, for example, Chapter 10. We're talking statistics. And that is a section in OneNote. And then the pages for that section in my notebook, which is this class, are the different subsections of the chapter, for example, statistics, or maybe we're talking central tendency or variance. And one useful value of this approach is that the students, this is streamed live, so students can access it live, and it's saved and shared on a cloud drive for the students to access both during class and anytime after class. Now, of course, the way students access that is my class notes section. So they can click on class notes here, and they just click this link. And if they click this link, it'll open up to a read-only application here, where later on they can access the class notes. All right, going back to our class. Also, I have a PDF here that has all the chapter notes in it saved on it. So if the students are having linking issues, for example, they can click on this and they can look at the notes in that fashion. Okay, then I have a video section here, which has all the different videos. And for example, Chapter 10, when we were talking about statistics, they can open this up. And there's links to Zoom videos over each of the chapter sections, or essentially these are grouped as topics, basically. And then I'll have non-graded homework that students can review, and this will either be to reference to different problems in their text or an online textbook or source. And of course, I clearly label that as non-submission and not graded. Now, for the graded aspect, I put all assignments in the same area. This way students don't have to hunt, and these show up chronologically as they are due. So students don't have to hunt all over my class management page to try to figure out what is currently due or not. And these assignments are all set up as official Canvas assignments, so they interact with things like to-do lists and the Canvas calendar to help students keep track of when things are due and when things are not due. And the way I set this class up is we have what I would call preliminary exams or practice exams, where we will often work on these in class if we have class time, and that includes during virtual Zoom sessions. We'll work on these in class, and students are encouraged to work with other students when they do this, but usually, especially with Zoom, they just sit there and work by themselves, and then afterwards we'll grade these. Sometimes we grade them in class, and this is kind of like a homework grade. Then I have two major exams, a midterm and a final, which if this was we were doing this as a live class, we would take these as proctored tests in classroom, but in virtual setting, they're just take-home tests. Now, I also have projects, for example, the wedding reception project, which was a project we did with students. Every class I have, I try to include a project, and I was successful this semester with every class I taught. And this is a project on optimizing areas in a hall involving table areas and number of people we can fit in the hall. So that is essentially how I have things set up, and pretty much the same procedure in all classes. Is if you look at this class here, this is a pre-calculus class, we'll see that I have, instead of these preliminary exams, I don't have as many of these preliminary exams, I suppose I should say, and I have section quizzes, and these section quizzes, if you go to them, you'll see that I'll have to leave student view to do this. You'll see that these are just multiple choice tests, and this is a graded homework component, and I just set these up based on what we happen to be learning at a particular moment in time. Occasionally in a class I'll have another section, class resources, that I'll set up, and this will have maybe important formulas or tables that we use in the class. This is for a Statistics 1 class, but as you can see, the rest of the modules are pretty much exactly the same. Well, that's really all I have time for right now, so thank you for watching my video.